I can recall visiting with you a first time just 3 years ago, and we used the word that I heard Dan Egan refer to, and that was survive. Dan didn't use it. He said people talked to him about surviving. Yeah, they were talking about that 3 years ago, and with good reason, because the unemployment rate was so high here at that time, and credit union managers were wondering if they could in fact survive. With so many people on layoff, with so many people wondering if they even had a job tomorrow, and with crazy people running around the country talking about deregulation, and what the hell does that mean anyhow? If we don't have people working, who needs deregulation? And yeah, that really was the mix of things, wasn't it, in 79 and 80 and 81, and what's going to happen. And so the word survive seemed to fit pretty well. Paul Bowman and Ed Callahan and the rest of us around the country that were involved in this deregulation weren't any smarter, and we were thinking about survival too. We sort of reacted to the times, and we got busy on this thing called deregulation, and it's passé today. I think the numbers, of course, speak to the fact that survive wasn't a good enough word. Thrive was the better part of deregulation for credit unions, because if we look at just the last 3 years, 70% growth nationally, 24% growth nationally, currently 20% growth. Numbers like this speak to the fact that, yes, while we may have had fears, we more than overcome them. Our boards could handle it. Our expertise could handle it. Our management could handle it. We're leading the way. We have outstripped the banks in growth over the same time frame by at least 200%, the S&L industry by at least 300%. And so if survival was the concern, then thrival is the reality now. But more important than that, I think the biggest change that took place in the same time frame was the reality that some of the old ideas about common bond had to go by the board if people were to continue to really have a common bond. And that is to have their own financial institution called a credit union. When the plant was closed, we found more than ever before that the sponsor wasn't the common bond. It was the people joining together to help themselves and to determine their own destiny that really was the common bond. And that if that was to continue, there needed to be more flexibility on the part of regulators. And that's happened. It's spread across this country, and now you really have a right to decide. And then finally, I think the most exciting thing for me was, and it's been less than a year, it took to put together what I think will prove to be a most revolutionary thing for all financial institutions, and that's your safety net, your unique approach to insurance with your own capitalization. So I see really three things having happened most recently in this 50-year history that I think put together the blueprint for the 50 years to come. I think you now have a freedom to compete, to make your own business decisions. I think you have a freedom to serve, to decide what the mix will be and who your membership will be, to include others, to open up this great credit union idea to these other groups in your vicinity who may care for it. And finally, I think you have the freedom of security, of having your own insurance plan that's totally unique. And I think that these three freedoms are what are going to not only continue to set you apart from other financial institutions, but give you the opportunity to more than double in size in the next 5 years. Mark it down, I said it. We hit the 50 million mark. I'm saying you're going to hit 100 million mark, that you're going to you surpass the $100 billion mark, you're going to hit a $200 billion dollar mark. I'm making that prediction right here and right now. And I'm saying that because of these three freedoms. The freedom to compete, the freedom to serve, and the freedom to be secure. Now, we tried to build some very, very key safeguards into it so that it would truly be your insurance plan. One is the withdrawable feature. It gives you the ability to vote. If you don't like it the way it is here, go back to Mass CUNA, to the share insurance fund here. You've got that opportunity in this state. We have that in over half the states. It would be my hope we would have it in every state, so that the credit unions would have the freedom to vote with their feet, to keep the regulators and administrators on their toes and sharp. But as long as we allow people to talk about a level playing field and say we're all the same and we all must be treated alike, we're going to be caught in the backlash of those things. So I guess in order to maintain these three freedoms that I think are so important to the trend you're on, the role you're on, the opportunity for the future that I see, you're going to have to, once and for all, establish the difference that is a credit union. And I hear a lot of rhetoric about people serving people. I hear a lot of rhetoric about what people have done in the past. I've heard a lot of rhetoric about how it all started and the needs of the blue-collar worker and banks turning their backs on and what have you. And I think that's all served us well. But I think you've got to go forward from this time and be able to document that people serving people is not a slogan, that it's a reality, that your credit unions are today not for-profit cooperatives that are democratically controlled, that do more than lip service about what they do for their own. Planning, automation are the things that these conferences are always about. And they talk about the need to keep up with Sears. They talk about the need to project, be able to plan, to know what's going on. I don't argue with any of that. Obviously, you didn't get here after 50 years to the status you have without being able to cope with all those things. And I'm sure that the internet system is going to make you compatible and competitive with all of the other systems that Citicorp, Sears, or whatever can throw at you. But it won't be enough. The credit union idea is what's going to make the difference. So what I challenge you, when you came here for an education session, have you done anything to talk about what it is that makes the credit union really different? Do you have a heart? Can you point and bring your congressman in and say, we have a heart. Here's what we do. Here's our plan. Here's how much we spend. Here's what we've done for our elderly. Here's what we've done for our retirees. Here's what we've done for people that are moving. Here's what we've done for the kids that are going to high school and trying to learn about things. Here's what we've done about people who need insurance. Here's what we've done to the needy. Somebody died, we did this. Somebody's sick, somebody did that. Here's what we're doing for children. College education, what have you. We're all flesh and blood. We all have these needs, and we turn to our credit union in time to help us out. What are you doing? That's what's going to make the difference. We can match all the rest. They can't match us. Let's take it from here. 50 million in 50 years. Why not 100 million in 60 years? God bless you. Thanks for having me.